Hello and welcome to HackerRank TV. This is your host Adil Bandukwala. I'm super excited to welcome for one of the first times the leaders of HackerRank on a live stream. So wherever you tuned in from, whether you're in IST, which is pretty late for all our tech enthusiasts in the night, but not really because we all know developers don't sleep and they like to sleep late. They're hanging out late, they're Netflixing. Some of them have just probably finished watching the India versus South Africa cricket match because we're all a cricket loving nation. And the others, I know Hamilton is trending on Twitter, so you're probably discussing F1 as well. So welcome to this live stream, whether you're in the IST time zone, whether you're in the EST time zone, or you're in the PT time zone. It's a very good morning, good evening, or good afternoon to you. Almost 10 years ago, two people with a mission began growing their interview preparation website into a game changing product. What was their mission? Their mission was matching every developer to the right job. Today, that company is known as HackerRank, and we've got over 2,600 plus customers who we help hire the best developers. And we've got 16 million people on our platform who we help polish their technology skills. The team that's making this happen has grown from two people to over 300 passionate engineers, tech enthusiasts, designers, sales folks, marketers, recruiters, HR, whatnot. Stoked to share that we've got with us today Preeti Negi, Senior Director of People, Cole Goeppinger, SVP of Engineering, and Maria Chung, Chief People Officer at HackerRank, to have a conversation about what life is like at HackerRank today, the engineering culture we've designed, developed, and are celebrating in our workplace, and the imminent tech recruiting challenges that we're solving for. Now, if you just joined us, welcome. I see a lot of you have actually joined us from LinkedIn, Twitter, YouTube, Facebook. So wherever you're tuned in from, hello and welcome. So I'm going to see if we can bring up a few of you on screen. So you've got Atayev. Atayev, hello and welcome to HackerRank TV. We've got Rajat. Hi, Rajat. Good to see you. Mohit. Hi, Mohit. Lots of people from LinkedIn seem to be here. We've got Kalpesh as well. We've got Napa. We've got Muhammad. We've got Julio. Let me bring up Julio. We've got Dimitra. We've got Ahmed. So many of you. You've got Imad, Diksha. Man, I'm not sure how to pronounce your name. Christoph. Did I get that right? I hopefully got that right. Christoph, welcome. We've got Muhammad Aisha. So good to see all of you. And the comments are just coming in. It's insane. Keep coming, bringing in those comments. And just so that we can start building in some momentum, please type the name of the city and country that you're tuning in from so that we can know where all we're getting participation from. So I used to be in Bangalore, but now I'm working from a small town called Belgaum. And we've got Maria and Cole who are joining us from the US. Preeti, I'm not sure if you are in Shimla or Bangalore. Where are you these days?
I am unfortunately back in Bangalore, Adil.
You are in
As you
Bangalore.
know, HackerRank made the decision to go remote a couple of months back, couple of quarters back, in fact. So I actually have been able to utilize that pretty well. And Adil, you and I have had conversations on that. So I did work from home, which is back in Shimla for some time. I also worked from Goa for a little, couple of months earlier this year, but sadly back in Bangalore now.
Awesome, awesome. So we've got people started saying where they're tuning in from. So we've got Probus, who all the way from Joburg, South Africa. I hope you're getting some cricketing action there because there's a fantastic match going on between South Africa and India. On day two, we're on the brink of an amazing match. We've got Ahmed, who's being cryptic. He says Asia, but where in Asia, Ahmed? Go ahead and tell us where specifically in Asia. Ganesh is tuned in from Hyderabad. We've got Sanjay from Mumbai, Aftab from Bangalore, Bausev from Nepal. We've got people from Ranchi too. And then we've got Kolkata. We've got Rajani from California. We've got folks from Poland. We've got Hussein from Manchester, UK. Nairobi, Kenya. We've got people from Iran. We've got all the way from Rajasthan, Ahmedabad. Man, Phoenix, Arizona. This is insane. This is really fun. People from Pakistan even. We've got Odisha. We've got Morocco. I didn't see that coming. So really good to see you all. Sapna Jadhav is tuning in. Sapna's a good friend. Preeti, I think she knows you too. So Sapna, hi, good to see you. Thank you for joining in. We've got Hassan, who's from the United States. We've got people from Egypt. Fantastic stuff, guys. Keep putting in wherever you're tuning in from, and let's have a great conversation. Now, before we get started, I want to really introduce our guests here because I believe we've got a fantastic panel. Let me get started with Maria, the bearer of all good news in our Slack channels and a determined leader. Maria is HackerRank's Chief People Officer. She has built and managed an incredible HR team that ensures employee happiness and delight at HackerRank. You know why I really like Maria? Yesterday, she made a fantastic announcement on our company All Hands. She said, all of us employees, because we had a terrific year last year, will be given Beats headphones. And I almost did a fist pump. Yes, right. And I went ahead and told my wife, hey, I'm getting Beats headphones. So, and she rolled out a lot of other benefits as well, which we'll talk about. But I'm really excited. Thank you, Maria, for that. Fun fact, apart from being a super smart and compassionate leader at work, Maria is a movie connoisseur and has recommendations for every genre, day, and mood. Welcome to the live stream, Maria. We're super happy to have you with us today. And what's your favorite movie?
Oh my goodness. Thank you so much for the introduction, Adil. I'm super excited to be here to talk to everyone on this live network. I would say I really don't have a favorite. I have a couple of ones that I continue to watch over and over again. I think Shawshank Redemption is probably one of the most favorite movie that I continue to watch over and over. It's on television all the time, and somehow I just get hooked onto it again and watch it.
All right. I love Shawshank Redemption. It's such a fantastic story. And Morgan Freeman, what a character, right? I mean, it's just so phenomenal. The voice, the narrative, it's fantastic. So just takes me back memory lane. But thank you for refreshing our memories, Maria. And for all of you, if you are movie fanatics as well, and if you enjoyed and if you think there is a movie related to tech that you recommend that we should watch as developers or developer enthusiasts, go ahead and put that in the comments. Wherever you are tuned in from, Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, Twitter, put that as a comment. And what we'll do is we'll feature them up on screen. Next up, let me move to Cole Goeppinger. Having led engineering teams at PayPal and Facebook, which is now Meta, Cole is taking on the mammoth task of building and refining the tech recruiting solutions of the future as SVP Engineering at HackerRank. Fun fact, Cole has previously built an engineering team from just 4 engineers at Series A and scaled it all the way up to 40 plus. This included engineers, data scientists, and PMs past Series C. An engineering leader who's at the forefront of the tech recruiting industry, Cole is redefining the way tech recruiting is done. Welcome to the live stream, Cole. Super excited to have you. By the way, guys, do you know what Cole enjoys doing as a hobby? Cole loves racing cars. And yesterday he was talking to me about his cars and his equipment. I was just mind blown. And I hope, Cole could show us his cars, but maybe next time we should do a live stream just on that. But Cole, welcome to HackerRank TV.
Well, thanks for having me. Super excited to be here. Actually, my virtual gaming rig is right here. This is my race seat and my wheel and my pedals. Yeah. So, yeah, I'm practicing. I'm going to the racetrack this weekend.
That is awesome. Thank you, Cole. And Cole was also showing me his Oculus Rift equipment. So he's deep into tech, and even his hobbies have serious tech involved. So Cole, very excited to be speaking to you today. Thank you for joining us. And our final guest is Preeti Negi, a thorough specialist at her craft. Preeti comes with a proven background in HR. She's previously held positions at world-class orgs like Walmart Labs, Fidelity Investments, and Swiggy. Armed with a superb attitude, Preeti takes on the hefty challenge of hiring, onboarding, rewarding, and managing talent every single day at HackerRank. Fun fact about Preeti, she's an avid traveler and hails from Shimla. She loves dancing as well. Welcome to the live stream, Preeti. Can't wait to hear your insights today.
Thank you, Adil. So excited to be here. This is definitely a topic which is very close to all of our hearts. So very excited to get this started.
Awesome. So with that, now that we've got the introductions out of the bag, there's a very interesting question that actually came us. Suraj is saying, are you going to hire all of us today? Suraj, we'd love to, man. I mean, this is one of the reasons why we're doing this conversation. Even we'd love to get to know you better. Please take a look at our careers page on hackerrank.com. Go to hackerrank.com, look up our careers page. There is a bunch of roles that we're hiring for. Remote in India, remote in US, you name it. Front-end engineers, back-end engineers, staff engineers. We've got an entire list that we'll discuss today, data scientists, what have you. We are totally in it. We are growing phenomenally. So please do consider joining us. Take a look at our careers page and do ask whatever questions you have, because we've got the people custodians in the form of Maria and Preeti here. We've got our engineering lifeline, Cole, right here. Feel free to shoot us all your questions and we'd love to take these up today. Now that we're getting into it, if you have any questions, put in those questions right here on wherever you tuned in from, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, or LinkedIn, and I'll feature them on screen and we'll ask Maria, Preeti, or Cole. Now with that, let's get this started. And I want to ask a few questions to Cole just to get started. Cole, you recently joined HackerRank from Facebook. I'm wondering, why HackerRank? What made you join HackerRank?
So I definitely have a passion for HR technology. And it really stemmed from growing that engineering team from scratch. Hiring engineers is hard, and it requires a lot of involvement from hiring managers and partnership from people ops and talent acquisition. And the figuring out how to scale a team and how to scale your hiring and accelerate your hiring while having consistent standards for performance management and hiring, all of that was I had to invent a lot of it myself, and I realized that it's such an important thing for companies, right? This what I call the talent marketplace. Companies succeed and fail by the quality of their hires, but people's happiness, fundamental happiness in life, is dramatically impacted by the quality of that match, right? And so this is not just a financial good for companies. This is a societal good for people, right, in terms of making sure that that is a high quality, efficient marketplace between companies and candidates. And so it's something I get pretty passionate about because, it's made me successful hiring well. And it's disappointing that this problem is getting harder. Time to hire is going up. There are more candidates than ever. And we've got all this rich machine learning and data analysis available to us. In order to improve this marketplace, and we're just scratching the surface on it. So this is one of the things: is how do we innovate, not with more humans and more hours, but smarter recruiting, right? And so this is where how I got my start in HR tech. It's also what I did at Facebook, working in recruiting products and building software to help hire and scale Facebook itself. What got me to HackerRank is actually when I decided to kind of take a break. Ramesh, who's the VP of Finance at HackerRank, we actually were executives together at a HR technology startup in Tello. He reached out and said, "Hey, I know you're passionate about this space. We're doing some really cool stuff here at HackerRank. You should come talk to us." And he knew that it was something that I care a lot about. So that's what introduced me, and I'm very excited to help HackerRank achieve our goals of improving the world's talent.
Awesome. Thank you for sharing that story, Cole. Cole, recently you were talking to us about embedding AI and ML, artificial intelligence and machine learning, into our product and strategy at HackerRank. Let's just go deep into it. Can you talk to us a little more about your thoughts here and how you think we can go about making it happen?
Sure. Yeah, and the role of machine learning in HR technology is something that we're still figuring out as an industry. My previous two companies, I've done this, and I'm doing it now at HackerRank because it is something that it needs innovation. So how to use all the data points we collect about interviewing and screening and resume data, LinkedIn data. How do we take all of this data and then make this a more efficient process, improve the hiring funnel? There's been so much innovation using machine learning in sales and marketing. There hasn't been the same level of innovation yet in HR technology. And so I feel like there's a lot of opportunity for innovation. So Parsing resume data, for example, is a really interesting one. Natural language processing is an extremely hard kind of field within machine learning, but there's a lot of research that's been done that we can leverage and start to do things like, hey, what are the best interviews? Here's a job description, here's a resume, what are the best interviews to actually validate it's a match? And so instead of that being a hiring manager intuition, making that a machine learning based model, right? And because most hiring managers, I've made hundreds of hires, not millions of hires, right? And so being able to scale that and let the data speak for itself, remove the human bias, actually measure the human bias and take it out. There are a lot of opportunities for using machine learning. One of the challenges we have in HackerRank is cheating. So people will actually will have leaked questions, and then people will act like they're very good engineers, but then we based off the fact that they already know the answer. So being able to detect behaviors that indicate that someone already knows the answer, so that we can flag that as not a legitimate solution. So yeah, these are the kinds of challenges where we can use machine learning to really innovate in our space.
Awesome. That makes a lot of sense. Cole, let's talk a little bit about the scale that HackerRank operates on. And I'm bringing scale up because you talked about making hundreds of hires, and then you also talked about making millions of hires, right?
Yes.
Therefore, then the scale becomes like super important. So let's talk about the scale that HackerRank operates on, the scale that an engineer who joins HackerRank can expect to work on. How are we currently approaching and solving for scale across our engineering teams? I think this will be super interesting to all our developers, friends who tuned in today.
Well, we actually have two products that are really interesting and have their own separate scaling challenges. We've got our HackerRank community, where we have millions of developers coming in and improving their technical skills and preparing for entering the market and just making their and learning new things. We also have HackerRank for Work, where we have customers coming in and using our platform to screen and interview candidates. But even so, there's millions of developers we have to scale for. So just the level of volume of interviews and questions and doing things like remote code execution and online IDEs, scaling that just as from an infrastructure point of view is interesting. But we have large customers that will come in and want to do a cohort of interviews. And so literally we'll have tens of thousands, 100,000 interviews going on in parallel on our HackerRank for Work side. And so we, the reason they like to do it in parallel is because they know these questions get leaked. And so there's very little opportunity for cheating if we do it all at once, because new question is not leaked, we can guarantee its integrity. But that means we need to be able to interview tens of thousands, 100,000 candidates all at once. And so just in terms of resources and scale and the ability to process all of that is also a really interesting challenge. So we actually have very different scaling challenges, but they're all, we have large volumes on both our products. And being able to essentially synchronize across those two products, we're actually kind of trying to move from a monolith to more microservices so that we can scale better to address these burst volumes of traffic that we're getting. So yeah, there's a lot of really interesting kind of technical problems we're solving as we continue to scale. We've got what an old CEO of mine used to call success disaster, right? Where we've just got too many good things going on and we have to really prepare for that.
Thank you for that, Cole. That makes a lot of sense. Looks like Annie's joined in. Annie's a good friend of mine. She's based in the Bay Area. Good to see you, Annie. Thank you for tuning in. I will ping you after this live stream. It's been a year. It's been a couple of years since we caught up. But good to see you, Annie. Now, let me go switch a little bit to Maria here. And let's talk a little bit about the remote environment. You know, shifting to a remote environment was, and for quite a few people in the world, still is challenging for all teams when the pandemic hit last year, but especially for the people function who had to innovate to maintain and scale employee engagement in particular, pivot to 100% remote recruiting process, and a whole bunch of other things. curious, like, what did this initial stage look like for HackerRank, and how has it changed today?
Oh gosh. I think it's been now 22 months since we kind of went into this working from home, remote world situation, and I can't believe it's already been 22 months. Back then it was something to the effect of we just have to figure it out. We're kind of forced into the situation where we can no longer work from our offices anymore, and where we've just been so used to doing that kind of way of working, and being forced put in this position where we had to figure things out fairly quickly. And so initially it was more about how do you get our employees set up for success in a remote home world. So it was things like, hey, what are some of the office equipment? What are the things that they need to be able to just get things set up? I think the pandemic really has directly and indirectly impacted us in many ways. And so how to really support our employees from a, physical and mental well-being as we go through this, uncharted territory, so to speak. So it's more about that. And fast forward now, as we look at remote first, I think we're now focusing more on how do we really work effectively together. Just as an example, for our HackerRankers, 300 plus strong employees, we're represented in 151 plus cities and 5 countries right now, and counting. Right, as we continue to hire more people, we certainly have open our doors and borders, and are being able to hire from anywhere in the world. So how do we make sure that being in a fully distributed world and team, how do we make sure that we're continue to give the kind of the amazing work experience, being able to get data and information in real time, how do you communicate more effectively in a asynchronous kind of a world, and also continue to really perform and provide the level of support from an individual needs perspective.
Thank you for sharing that, Maria. And on that, I want to go to Preeti, because Preeti, there have been so many comments coming, I'm finding it hard to track. And I can't feature one of them because there are multiple, right? There are so many of them. Let me consolidate and ask this particular question on behalf of the audience. The question is, are you all hiring at HackerRank? And what's your hiring process like? How can we get hired? And on that, let me mix in and throw in my question as well. HackerRank encourages companies to look beyond outdated and biased hiring practices. What are some parts of our own hiring process that you're proud of? Are there any innovative sourcing, screening, or interviewing practices we've implemented? And please talk to us a little bit about our interviewing experience so that people can know what it's like to get hired at HackerRank.
Sure. Thank you, Adil. Love to answer that question. To answer your first question, we are very, very actively hiring at HackerRank right now. Through the last 2 years, the company has seen massive growth, which has been really positive for us. But that also means we need to grow out our team. And we are building out really exciting features and products coming out. For that, we need our engineering and product teams to grow. So if you all go on to our HackerRank careers page, you will be able to see all the jobs across the globe that are listed there. It is a fairly easy application process at HackerRank. So if you just go in and submit your application, we will get it in our ATS, and you should hear back from our recruiters pretty quickly. Like I said, hiring is our topmost priority at this point, so you should expect to hear back fairly quickly. On your second question, Adil, on things that I am particularly proud of when it comes to hiring. So for starters, right, the core philosophy at which HackerRank was built was skills over pedigree, right? So that was the philosophy when Hari and Vivek started building the company a decade ago. And that kind of reflects on our hiring process as well. So just to give you an example, let's take the example of our internship process. We have a massive internship process in engineering, something that all of us are extremely proud of at HackerRank. We actually don't go to campuses to hire our interns. So we open up our internship applications for anybody all over the country, and engineers who do the best in the selection process are the ones who eventually join us, right? So we never look at the colleges they went to, we don't look at what they studied in the college, and we don't look at how much they scored while they were there, right? And this philosophy is just applied across all roles and levels as well. That's one thing that I feel really, really proud of. The second is, as a company, and that's also the need of the hour, we are super agile and we are continuously trying to improve our hiring process as well. So as we continuously think about innovation and new ways of hiring, we use a lot of tools to help us simplify and make our hiring process smarter, right? So in addition to the job sites, we use search tools such as Seek Out that focus on skill first. Of course, we also use HackerRank as a tool to help us hire our tech talent as well. But we're constantly on the lookout for more tools to help simplify and make the process more intelligent. Lastly, I think another thing that I feel really proud of, at HackerRank, we hold our values very, very close to us. So every single candidate that comes through to HackerRank, even the execs, need to go through something that we call as a value fit round. And that round is typically done by somebody who's not necessarily a part of the team that you will be joining, right? So once all of the rounds are done, we actually spend a lot of time in gathering feedback from all the interviewers, just so ultimately the decision to hire is not made exclusively just by the hiring manager, right? So we have very specific guidelines and scorecards that drive the why and why the particular candidate should or should not be a part of HackerRank. So this is where we are right now. But like I said, our hiring process is constantly evolving, specifically given how fast HackerRank is growing right now.
Awesome. Thank you for sharing that, Preeti. And with that, let's go back to Cole. Cole, there's a question that's common, and there are 3 people who are asking this question. Can you give us some insight into what is like the engineering culture like at HackerRank? And people are curious to know, like Ashish wants to know, how do you choose what problems to solve? Jen wants to know, can you give us a rundown of the process of choosing and approaching problems? So could you please give us some insight here for the audience?
Sure. So the process for choosing what to work on is an interesting one. I'm a very mission-driven engineer. I'm really into the why. It's why I've stuck in HR technology. It's because I'm passionate about it. So it requires a lot of partnership with product. And I'm a very product-oriented engineer as a result, because I really want to understand what we're trying to do. And so when the head of product, Odette, and I get together, we talk about, what do our customers want? What do we think is strategic for the company? What are the infrastructure needs we have as an engineering organization? And we never have enough resources. So it's always what's the trade-off? What's the most important thing that we need to be working on right now? And so there's no one way to have that conversation, and there's so many things going on that we can't be close enough to every problem to know the right answer. So this is actually where we start to have to trust our leaders and go to the product managers and the tech leads and the managers who are really close to the individual problems they're solving, and talk to them and say, okay, what can we do on what timelines, given that these are the business needs? So there's a lot of collaboration that goes on, both at leadership and with the teams actually doing things to make sure that we're coordinated on that. So the understanding the why and the what really helps with the prioritization of choosing what we're going to work on. Culturally, that's something I really try to promote, is engineers that are not just interested in solving interesting problems. I call it a cathedral builder engineer, solving important problems, right? So it doesn't have to be an elegant solution. This is a very startup engineer skill. It has to be the important problem, not the fun problem. Oftentimes those overlap, but sometimes they're different. So sometimes we need to take people away from like the interesting technical problem and then put them on, no, what the business needs right now is this. So being able to kind of reconcile all these concerns and figure out like what does the business need and how do we get there quickly, and how do we scale the company. So yeah, it's in terms of culture, it's really mission driven is what I look for.
Awesome. Now, there's a very interesting question which is tempting. So I'd love to get Preeti or Maria's opinions here. Diksha is asking, is it too tough to get hired at HackerRank? So what are your views? Can you all attempt to take this question, please?
Preeti, you want to take it out, or
I'm trying to think what's the right answer here. Let me put it this way: our hiring process is very easy, and it's very candidate friendly. So if you are somebody who wants to apply to HackerRank, it's very easy to apply in our career space. It's very easy to get in touch with me or Maria or Paula and Kenny, who are our recruiting leaders. We're extremely responsive on forums like LinkedIn as well. And Adil helps us do a bunch of these sessions where you can come in and have a chat with us live too. So if you want to apply to HackerRank and want to understand more about the application process, you can reach out to any of us and we'll make sure you understand the process. And it's a really simple one. Now, how tough is it to get a job at HackerRank? I think that will really depend on the match between the skills and the role that you're applying for. But in terms of the process, I can say that we try our level best to make it as candidate friendly and easy as we can.
Yeah, awesome. and to that, it is about providing the most and the best candidate experience. And so, we could have our discussion with you about, where are your aspirations? What are your goals? And if there is not a fit at this time, it doesn't mean that it's a closed door, forever. And so let's have an open dialogue to really think and talk about, what you'd like to achieve, and let's figure out a way for you to really be part of the HackerRank team.
So I like how we are. I just want to jump in. I like how we're super intentional about candidate experience. We impact thousands of companies' candidates' experience, right, with being the tooling they use for evaluating. And so it's something where we need to model best practices in terms of candidates spend a lot of time looking at our glass, looking at our screens. And so we really want to make sure that we provide the best experience they can, because it is a highly competitive market, and differentiating on candidate experience is definitely one way to get an advantage.
Yeah, and I'll just give you an example of that. I think when we went remote, now I have to say a couple of years back, when we went remote a couple of years back, earlier when we would do interviews, candidates could come into our office and they could really get the feel of the office, have lunch with us, talk to us informally before the session. Now all of that suddenly went missing when we went remote, right? It's just about, okay, your interview gets scheduled and then you come in and you start talking to the interviewer. So one of the things our recruiting partners started doing, we actually do a presentation for our candidates as well, in which we talk to them about HackerRank and let them know, here are the things, history that you need to know about HackerRank, here's our culture, just so people feel a little more aligned when they come on to the hiring process, even before they start. So yeah, that's just an example on how candidate focused we try to be.
Awesome. That is exciting. Thank you, all of you, Cole, Maria, and Preeti, for chipping in. That makes a lot of sense. And there's a nice comment that comes in from Jitendra. He says, Adil is kind-hearted. He will all get us hired one day. I hope so, man. I really hope I can get all of you hired. So don't shy away. Hit the apply button. I will try and get back to you ASAP. But, I want to be a little selfish here, Jitendra. If you know any awesome people in marketing, I'm hiring right now for an APAC demand gen manager role. So please, if you know people in the B2B space who've done demand gen for APAC, please send them my way. Ask them to ping me directly on LinkedIn or Twitter. My DMs are open. I'd love to try and see if we can make that happen. And if any of you would like to get referred internally to HackerRank as well, feel free to ping me, and I'm friends with Preeti, so I'll send her a nudge. So absolutely feel free to do that. But there are other questions also that are coming in. For example, there is this particular one on tech that I think we should definitely take. Here you go. I think Cole would be ideal to take this. What are the programming languages HackerRank is using for development? So, Cole, it'll be awesome if you can give our audience a sneak peek into HackerRank's tech stack.
Sure. So we're a Ruby on Rails shop for our customer-facing web applications. We actually started with one monolith, and now we have two. We've got our HackerRank for Work and our community site. Now, I've actually gone through this evolution. This will be my second time doing it, because I actually had the same challenges around scaling Ruby at a previous startup. Ruby is great for getting things off the ground, not necessarily great for large scale. And we're reaching large scale challenges now. So now this is why we're starting to pull things out of the Rails monolith and into microservices. And we're evaluating different languages. For instance, in machine learning, you're not going to use Rails for machine learning, you're going to use Python. When it comes to massive data processing, you probably want to use something like Golang. So we're pulling out the various aspects of our tech stack and using the appropriate tool but being very careful about it because we don't want to have too many solutions because we need to kind of centralize around a few themes. But scale and machine learning are causing us to evolve beyond our core of Ruby on Rails.
So a follow-up question on that, and maybe Maria or Preeti could take this. Kiran's asking, will HackerRank always be remote? Do we have physical work locations in UK like London? What's our strategy? Do we plan to be remote for the imminent future?
Yeah, very, very good question. So as Preeti mentioned, back in September of last year, obviously we're pretty far into the pandemic and continue to work from home, and there's a lot of discussions from the E team as to whether we create a hybrid work model or we go fully remote or we go back into the office when things do get better. And there's a lot of shuffling back and forth because certainly things are changing on a daily basis. And what eventually came down to was we're operating incredibly well in a remote work environment. And so why change it? Why, we've spent all this time of getting and making sure that our employees are really successful in being efficient and in being productive. Why go back to something that is no longer going to be something that we may need at that point? So the decision was made to go remote first, meaning that working remotely, digital first, will be all by default. So we're not going to make people come into work. If people want to come in and have the flexibility to do so, absolutely, we want to make sure that people have that kind of flexibility. And on the second question about UK, so we still do have an office presence in the UK, and we also have an office presence in India. And again, we're using these spaces more for a purpose of collaboration, establishing connections with one another and so forth when the times are right for us to get together, whether if it's once a quarter for offsites and having fun gatherings, but not necessarily for everyday work necessary.
Back to you, Cole, because there are a couple of tech questions that are coming in here. And Arvind's keen to know, do we also use Haskell everywhere in the tech stack? And Kiran's asking, do we use Kotlin as well?
So those, I've worked with tech stacks that have Haskell. We're not there yet. It's one of the things that I'm engaging kind of the engineering leadership around is, okay, we need to evolve our tech stack. It got us here, it won't get us to where we need to go. Those are definitely under consideration. But I've also seen too much kind of one tech stack per engineer, right? Which is not a very sustainable way to go. So like finding the right kind of critical mass around a new technology where you have enough developers who are passionate about it and can socialize it and have it sustainable. Otherwise, one person introduces a new tech and they leave and you're not in a good place. So like finding that right level of having buy-in on new tech and then enough people who know it that it becomes sustainable. So yeah, that's an active conversation.
Thank you, Cole. Cole, given we're growing so fast, I am very curious to understand what are some of the qualities you look for while you're hiring for the engineering team. There are a bunch of roles, and like we shared the link, people can go and check it out. There's so many roles we're hiring for, but there must be a few qualities that you look for that are universal when you're hiring for your engineering team. Can you talk to us a little about these, please?
Well, so I would rather have capacity for growth than perfect tech stack match, especially at a startup where we're literally evolving our tech stack. Right. And so it's less about, hey, are you a Rails expert, and more of, can you learn quickly? So capacity for growth is definitely something I look for. When it comes to individual contributors, it's about like, hey, we're going to invest in you. Are you going to grow fast? And then when it comes to managers, it's, can you really support people in a fun but chaotic environment of startups? Because there's just a ton of ambiguity that happens in startups. So being able to support teams and grow with the company and hire, that's another big thing for us, is we're not hiring as fast as we would like in order to make progress on all the things we need to make progress on. So that's a huge thing when it comes to managers, is ability to scale the teams. And then for ICs to grow with the company and evolve the company in partnership. So yeah, it's less about perfect match on skills.
Understood. Cole, fast forward 12 months from now, and you were to look back at 2022, like a year it was. And I'm bringing this up because I think we, Aditi, who's in our social media team, along with a couple of people, put up a beautiful video last year on what the year that went by, 2021, HackerRank was. So we'll play that video for the audience in just a bit. But fast forward 12 months, if you were to look back at 2022, what would make it a successful year for engineering at HackerRank?
Sure. So we've got some really interesting roadmap discussions. I can't socialize all of them. We just socialized them with the company. So making progress on some of our exciting new products. Also, we're investing in quality, making sure we automate and have good test case coverage to make sure our availability is extremely high. Because I know for a fact that it's so stressful to be in an interview if you experience any latency in terms of like your online IDE. It is so frustrating. Like I'm being evaluated and the tool isn't working. So like we have to have a very high standard for the candidate experience. So we're investing in that. We have a ton of scaling and extensibility projects going on. So what I want to say in January next year is that we killed it on hiring. We've got great leadership. We've made tremendous advancements in our quality and our infra, and we nailed our roadmap. Those are the things. Like if I can say that in January next year, I'll be good.
Awesome. I think that sounds very, very doable, and we're all counting on you, Cole. And I'm sure we're counting on a lot of those hires that we're going to make this year to help us make that happen. But while we do that, I think it might be a good segment to go and play a 1-minute clip for all our friends who've tuned in to talk about the year it was. We released this video on the 31st of December. We call it HackerRank Rewind, which our social media team put together. We're going to play it so that you get a flavor of what we did in 2021. And Cole's already told you about what we plan to do in 2022. So here's a quick recap of 2021 coming. So that was a quick HackerRank Rewind. 2021 for sure was kind to us, and we're ready for you 2022, all charged up and excited. So with that, I'm going to switch to Maria for a question that I'd love to ask her. 2021 was an incredible year for us as a company, and we hit an incredible amount of milestones. Now that a year full of challenges and opportunities is upon us in the form of 2022, what's your big picture goal for HackerRank as our Chief People Officer?
Yeah, great question. I think, first of all, what an incredible 2021 it was. A lot of the milestones that we achieved, I mean, of course, it's certainly a group effort. Everyone pitched in to really make this company what it is today. So super excited and grateful for everyone here. I think there's a lot of programs and structure and process that we're putting in as part of 2022. But at a very, very high level, it's really about placing a laser focused emphasis on having the most incredible experience for people that are wanting to join the organization, to people that have joined the organization, and how do we continue to keep them engaged and motivated. So it is, as I mentioned it before, candidate experience is incredibly, incredibly important for us, making sure that we're setting all of them up for success and how they are applying to our roles, being interviewed for these open up positions, and ultimately getting hired. And then from there on, how do we continue to develop them, motivate them, really challenge them, and continue to raise the bar in terms of what we do in the organization.
Awesome. Thanks for sharing that, Maria. There's a question that come up from Aman Garg, Cole. I think we should take this. Are interviews based on data structure algorithms or system design skills at HackerRank? Could you take that up, please?
Both. And it kind of depends on the level on which we're hiring. In fact, I've been trying to evolve the engineering manager hiring to be less about data structures and algorithms, and more towards system design for engineering managers. But for the individual contributors, we want to. It depends on the level. So, like, we're looking for more system design, which generally comes from experience for our more senior engineers. So it's a mix, and it kind of evolves. What we look for evolves depending on the role.
And there you go, Aman. I hope that answered your question. And to all of you, wherever you're tuned in from, LinkedIn, YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, please reply with a question as a comment, and we'll feature it and we'll ask it live to Cole, Maria, or Preeti, whoever you want to address that question to. So we're all waiting. Throw in your questions, and then we'll get back to you as soon as we can. Meanwhile, let's cut across to Preeti. Preeti, how are you partnering with the engineering org at HackerRank today to really execute on our promise of a world-class engineering culture? Would love to get some insights there.
Sure, great question, Adil. So it's been an interesting transition to partner with the engineering team and leaders now that we're remote. And the entire transition to remote has been just a huge learning opportunity for everyone. So from a people ops perspective, as Maria mentioned earlier, we're constantly thinking of, how do we remove any or all roadblocks that an engineer may face as it relates to systems or tools, right? What are benefits we can offer to our employees that will be truly meaningful in this new way of working? How do we ensure every employee is aware of how they are doing and how their role impacts the company at large? Now, the first two are easier because we have multiple feedback loops from our employees, and we actually do reach out to our employees very, very often and alter our benefits and other offerings based on the inputs that they give us. But with remote, the one big challenge that comes in is truly understanding the impact of your role, right? At HackerRank, we believe our engineers should be entrepreneurial, right? Which is you're always thinking with a holistic mindset. Now, one way that we try to achieve that is through cross-team collaboration and ensuring every single person, and this goes beyond engineering and product, but just truly making sure that every single person has access to the goals and the health of the business. We actually publish a scorecard with to the whole company every single week, so that people understand how their individual work impacts the overall company performance real time. We also have forums such as the engineering team does a lot of what are they called, sprint demos. Sorry, they do a lot of sprint demos, which is open to everyone, and it's a great place to present to and hear from our sales and customer success partners as well. The other cultural aspect that we try to promote is to encourage open debate. In fact, this is one of the principles that Cole speaks about often as well. Our engineering team at HackerRank is a group of extremely smart people who are committed to HackerRank's mission of accelerating the world's innovation, right? So their value goes way beyond their ability to code. So we really encourage our employees to express new ways of solving problems to help us drive better technical decisions. So just keeping some of these as active conversations with engineers and also with our engineering leaders has been hugely beneficial. Like I mentioned previously, I think one thing I really appreciate about HackerRank and the way that we're trying to build the culture here is it's truly a partnership between the engineering leaders and the people ops team as well. So that way we're able to drive the same messaging and culture across.
You're on mute.
Yes.
Sorry about that. There's a follow-up question here from Sapna, and she's asking, does HackerRank have a return to work program for women, both in tech and non-tech?
So I can take that. So we don't have a formal program yet on return to work, Sapna, but we did recently have somebody who joined us after a long career break. She actually joined us as an intern in our product team after a really long career break. And then she's now converted to a product manager and is doing exceedingly well. So no, there is an opportunity for us to do a lot more when it comes to things like creating programs such as this. But I'm really happy to see that organically that has happened with a few people at HackerRank already.
Awesome. Thank you for answering that. There's another question, Cole, and there are a bunch of different questions that are keep coming in. So I'm going to try and summarize a few and ask a couple. One is people are curious to know, how are you setting up engineers for success? Like, does HackerRank do training sessions? Do you personally get involved to mentor our engineers? What is it that you try to imbibe in them to ensure that people in HackerRank engineering and tech will be super successful?
Sure. It really depends on the level on which they join, what kind of onboarding we do. For instance, our cohorts of interns, we spend a week before they actually get on their product team. They all get together and report to our CTO to learn the fundamentals of like what is a PR, right? Like how do I set up my dev environment? Instead of that being like everyone kind of figuring it out separately, we really try to set them up for success by having kind of an intense first week just to get everyone good on the fundamentals. The other extreme is when I joined, I actually had daily one-on-ones with the CEO, just to get me, all the context I need, because I interact with a ton of different teams, and he knew that that 1 hour a week wasn't going to be enough in my first month. So he was very intentional for me in terms of like, this is what I need to set you up for success. And I try to pay that back, and by like modeling that behavior, figuring out, okay, for senior engineers, they're going to need something different than interns and engineering managers. So how do we set them up for success? Because they're not going to need so much help on the technical stuff, but they're going to need the connections. This is one of the things that remote has dramatically influenced, is how do you build your networks? Because it won't happen organically at the ping pong table. So you've got to figure out like, how do I make those connections? How do we when you join, because you need to know the people. And it's something like I joined in October, and there was an opportunity with COVID where I actually made it out to Bangalore in November before Omicron came up, because I knew that I wanted to meet everyone in person, right? You get so much more empathy and trust in person versus virtual. I don't think we need to meet daily, but I do think it's important to meet every once in a while in person to establish those networks, because we really have to rely on that trust as we go online. So as we onboard, making sure we're very intentional about the human aspect of building your network.
Understood. There's another question around customer centricity, Cole. There's a question where people are asking, how do you empower engineers to be more customer driven? And it's fascinating that question came up, because one of our values at HackerRank is customer delight. And there's often contention between engineers and customer centricity. So again, the question is, how do you empower engineers to be more customer driven? And what tips would you give to engineers to develop this skill, because it's such a powerful skill?
So one of the things is developing customer empathy. And so how does the engineer understand the other side of the screen? One of the things that I've tried to do previously is use our own products. And we actually have the luxury of engineers are one of our key users in terms of interviewing. So we use our interviewing products extensively. We don't, so we get some customer empathy via that. Part of it is just understanding the voice of the customer, like not only engineers, but talent acquisition. So making sure, this is why I think it's super important for me to have strong partnership with talent acquisition, have all my managers have strong partnership. It's not like, it's not an outsourced relationship. It is truly like hiring engineers is hard. We need to do it together. The difficulty of that problem is why HackerRank is a company, right? Is because it's a really hard scaling problem. So I think we need that empathy even at the individual level, and it means that we need to also partner with customer success to really understand like what are the pain points of our customers, fixing their bugs, having high availability. So yeah, understanding that the need for the product and the impacts of the products really help with prioritization. So it's good for the business for that customer empathy, but it's also just kind of a good thing in general to make sure that we understand the implications of the software we make.
Awesome. Thank you for sharing that, Cole. And with that, I think we are about on the clock. We've just got a few more minutes left. So here's the fun thing. And I've not prepped you guys up for this, so I hope like y'all don't kill me for this. But I do believe we should do a reverse pitch, right? Normally candidates come and say, hey, I'd love to, go ahead and get hired at HackerRank. But I think it's cool. It's about time that we did a reverse pitch saying that come, please work for HackerRank because we are doing 1, 2, 3. So may I request each one of you to do short 10 seconds, 15-second pitches of whatever you think, why you think HackerRank is a cool place to work and why people should really join.
I'm happy to kick off. I think it's very much a reiterating what I said earlier. Like hiring is hard, and don't you want to make it easier? Don't you think that a lot of the people, I kind of find it neat because people in market understand how inefficient the market is. So join us and make your experience better. The experience that you're having right now in this marketplace, help us to make it better for everybody else.
That is, Cole, are you sure you're in engineering, not marketing? I think you need to join our world, right? That was such an amazing answer. I think you win the prize. And I've not even heard Maria and Preeti, but let's go ahead and hear Preeti and Maria as well.
Yeah, I think Cole wins. I mean, certainly he said what was certainly on my mind. It's HackerRank is an incredibly special place, and I'm not being biased here because we work here, but it really is truly revolutionizing how we hire. And we're as Cole mentioned, we are trying to solve one of the hardest problems. And also something that has been done for so long, and how to really, get it into next generation of being able to hire talented people in the organizations. But also, we are a company of, really collaborative, fun, humble, kind people, that would do whatever it takes to help with one another. And it is a fun environment. It's challenging at times. But we really do work together, and we get the great results together as a team.
All right, and let's go to Preeti.
Awesome. Maybe I can answer this question, Adil, by telling you why I joined HackerRank. So fun fact, I was actually a customer of HackerRank for close to 6 years before I joined HackerRank as a full-time employee, right? Two strong reasons to do that. One, I loved the product that I was using as a customer. It helped me be a smarter recruiter when I was hiring, because I'm not an engineer and I was hiring for engineering roles. So it really helped me become a smarter recruiter. So that was a big reason. And the second big reason was just the people I was interacting with all through those 5-6 years, be it the customer success folks, the sales folks, even the founders of the company. Everybody was just so incredibly kind and just customer focused, always genuinely trying to solve customer problems. 2.5 years in to the company, I think both those things still continue to stay true. So yeah, it's a fun, great place to work. I think it's a great time to be at HackerRank because we're growing like crazy. So go ahead and look at all of the positions that we have. Like I said, all of us, including everybody on this call, Adil, me, Cole, and Maria, we're very active on LinkedIn. Feel free to shoot us an invite or message or anything that you might have as it relates to job openings that we have.
Awesome. Thank you for sharing that, Preeti. And Aman has a question. Aman says, how many engineers are you planning to hire in the future? Aman, it's a lot of engineers. The answer to that really is on this page. So go check out hackerrank.com/careers. You will see there are way too many positions that we are hiring for right now. So please go ahead and apply. And we'd love to meet you. We'd love to interact with you and chat to you about career possibilities and what life like at HackerRank can be. So with that, thanks a ton everyone for joining in. This has been so much fun. I never thought we'd do a live stream at 10 o'clock at night and have so much fun, but I've really enjoyed it while it's early morning for Cole and Maria because they're based in the PT time zone and it's 9:30 a.m. For Preeti and me, it's 11 p.m. And I think for all of you as well, you can now go back to your one IDE of choice and begin to code, or potentially OTT of choice and go to Netflix, Amazon Prime, Hotstar, Disney, whatever you feel like, and get some downtime. So with that, have a great day, everyone. And a big thanks, and all of you, if you can give a virtual round of applause to Preeti, Maria, and Cole for being such amazing guests today. This has been so much fun. Thank you very much, and have a great day or night, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you, Adil. Thanks, everyone.